Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Maybe they're not dead yet. They're probably dead, but maybe not. Welcome, everyone, to Game Over Calgary. My name is Peter Klein. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. Yes, get to cover a win here on a nice-ish Saturday afternoon as the Flames pick up a 5-3 win over the worst team in the National Hockey League. Dog behind me is a little nervous, but it's okay. The Flames are still alive. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Before we get into all of the fun, hi, Lola. Before we get into all of the fun, I do want to remind you, it's March Mania at Sports Interaction, NHL, NBA, March Madness, and MLB, and so much more. It's bananas. Play Pinata Picks, which, by the way, the most fun way to interact with sports on a sports website. I absolutely love Pinata Picks. And March Madness, exclusive games with insane odds you can't play anywhere else. Make your next bet with Sports Interaction. Download the app in Ontario. Use the QR code you see at the bottom of the screen or head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. 19 years and older. Please play responsibly. Lola, you're okay. You're okay. It's fine. Come here. Come here. Yeah, no one can see you on the camera. You're fine. I know you're very shy. I might just have to pet a dog for half an hour while we're talking about Calgary Flames win. On a day where the scoreboard kind of goes exactly the way the Flames would have wanted it to, right? Like, if you are someone who still fancies yourself as thinking that this team makes the playoffs or has a chance of making the playoffs, this was a day for you, right? The Nashville Predators get absolutely curb stomped by Seattle 7-2, and the Jets fall to the LA Kings 4-1. So this was best case scenario for the Flames after what seemed like worst case scenario the other day in that loss against the Vegas Golden Knights. I was there at the building, and I had this already if the Flames were going to lose this game today to talk about just the apathy around this team and everything like that. But then they go out and win the game, and it feels kind of bad to just shit on them after a 5-3 win, but not a perfect win. This was a game where it felt like the Flames only tried as much as San Jose kind of made them to. Like they go up 2-0. It's okay. This one feels over already, and you kind of got that sense, but it's a Calgary Flames, and the San Jose Sharks come back and put together a pretty good run and end up actually taking the lead, and then Calgary's like, fine, we'll try again, and they get a goal. But San Jose pushed them, but overall, a win is a win. I think my camera looks very nice. Oh, well, thank you. I think the big story of this game is Walker Doer, right? He, for the last couple of games, has felt like the best player on the team, and I have really, really enjoyed what he has brought to that fourth line, and it's one of the reasons why you look at, like, some of the other younger players, and it's like, why have some of these other guys not been given a chance? Because no one was knocking down the door for Walker Doer this year, right? Like, no one, I think I just combined two metaphors. But either way, no one was clamoring for Walker Doer at any point this season. Like, this was someone who just kind of forged his own way onto this team, and he has provided the jump that this fourth line has really required. And to do it with, like, Lucic and Lewis, who one of them has been oft talked about on this particular program, and the other one has been kind of okay, but he has really been a spark plug for that line, and I think he's kind of earned his way to maybe getting a couple of other looks with this team. Like, I would be interested to see what he would do with a Backlund and a Coleman out there, right? But it is an interesting kind of spark that he has provided the fourth line, but he is what you want a fourth liner to do, right? Like, go in there, crash, bang, boom, play with speed, play with pace. And one of the things I talked about on the hit I did on 960 this week was how the Flames, when they're playing really well on the offensive end, they're really making it difficult for the opposition to break out, right? So you have, whether it's an aggressive forecheck, excuse me, wow, I'm all choked up after a win, whether it's an aggressive forecheck or it is winning puck battles along the wall, you have a number of opportunities to really make life difficult on the opposition, and Doer does all of them. It's so great to see. He is the one creating a real spark. There's that word again, creating a spark for this team on that fourth line, and I absolutely love it. And that is the exact example you want your young players to do. And you think about where that kind of boost has come from this season. I'm really trying hard to not use the word spark now. Where that boost has come from this entire season. It has been Pelche, which I don't know what he's not doing in the lineup, but whatever. Whether it's Pelche, Ruzicka had it for a little bit and kind of lost it, admittedly. But it's been Doer as well. Like, it's been those guys who have come in and given this team life. And maybe it'll be a Coronado in the last 7 or whatever games of the season. But this is the exact spark that you are looking for from your young players. And like I thought, look, like for Milan Lucic, I thought Lucic had an all right game. I thought Lewis played well, and I thought that fourth line was the only one that was kind of keeping the Flames in it for a little bit here. So a few positives, I think, to take from the Flames win. Let's get the likes going, although I can't really complain right now. We're at about a 50% like rate, so not too much complaining. Let's go to the chat for the first time. Yes, Derek saying finally get to cover a win. And Left-Handed Penman saying you and Audie have got to stop going to games. It never ends well. No, you're right. This was the last game I have tickets to this season, so we're fine on that front. I don't anticipate me buying any more, and so I think we're good. I think we're gonna be okay. I can't speak for Audie though. Camden Kelly 1. I am very saddened that Dubé shaved that beautiful beard. Yes, no, that was noticeable today and jarring. It took a little bit of time, but we eventually were able to just kind of cope and deal with it. Do you think the Flames will make the playoffs, and do you think Daryl will be fired or no? Do I think the Flames will make the playoffs? No. Again, everything broke right today, but this is still a team that is, as of right now, 4 points out with 8 games to go. It's not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination. It's one good week and you've got it back on track, right? But at the same time, they just played tooth and nail with San Jose after, it was a frustrating loss against Vegas. I didn't think they played an amazing game there. And then they got absolutely shit kicked by the Kings. This is not a team that's playing anything close to playoff hockey right now. So no, I do not anticipate this team making the playoffs. The second question, will Daryl get fired? I still don't think so. Look, this is not a he shouldn't. This is he won't. I do not think he is the right mix for this team. I do not think he is the right coach necessarily for 2023 in the National Hockey League. Complete respect to what he did with the Flames as a coach and with the LA Kings on a way to a Stanley Cup. Absolutely, 100%. Every flower he gets for an amazing coaching career, he absolutely 100% deserves. I just don't think it's now, man. I don't think he is the coach for this team for the long haul if they want to, win. So I do not think he should be the coach. However, this is a traditionally frugal organization and not one that likes to pay coaches a whole lot to not coach. And they also love Daryl. Maybe not the general manager, but the dude just deciding on the general manager. They're the ones who are big Daryl fans. So I do not anticipate there being a new head coach with the Calgary Flames coming into next season. Derek Grant is doing his best. Holy cow. Necromancy skills. I probably said that wrong. Keeping them alive, but yes, he's been so good. This feels like a waste. And look, Backlund played his 900th game today. I guess I'm looking outside. The sun's shining. I should have not made that mistake. But it feels like such a waste with how well Backlund's playing this year and with how well Toffoli's playing this year that I don't think this team will make the playoffs. That it just feels like such a waste for this club. But that's where we are at with them. Okay, so keep the chats coming. Let's remember to like this video, share it with your friends. Everyone come on in after a win over the San Jose Sharks on a Saturday afternoon. And from a Flames perspective, like I said before, today was best case scenario. You look at the schedule now coming up for Calgary. They have the Kings again on Tuesday, which feels like a monster bounce back game. Then it's Friday at the Canucks. Sunday, home against the Ducks. Tuesday, home against Chicago. And then Wednesday against Winnipeg. I'm just going to say it feels like it's a big deal. You know, like you at least have one head-to-head game left with those guys. So it is possible. The only issue is this team desperately, I think, needs to elevate their game right now. Like this was not a game that should have given them this much trouble, right? And I said I don't want to dump on it too much. The Flames just won. We're all happy. We're feeling good. It's positive. I'm going to a wine thing after. We're going to have a good evening. So we're excited. We're happy. That wasn't a very well played hockey game by the Flames. Defensively, I don't know what this thing is where they just feel like the center line on the ice just isn't important anymore, but they give up so many looks right dead center, like right between the eyes for on the rush. And I don't recall that ever being a real Daryl Sutter strategy. I'd have to look at everything, but I don't think that's really the way that you want to be defending by any means. So that is a thing that concerns me a lot, is those looks just right down the middle. They were there all day against the Kings. They were there all night against the Vegas Golden Knights, and they were all there once again today against San Jose. I know, Lola, it's very upsetting. I know, I'm worried about it too. Here, Lola, come here. But for the Flames, I wish people could see. Our place is too dirty for me to just be Roman cameras all over the place. But from a Flames perspective, like the simple thing is everything needs to get better, right? Like generating offense, they've scored a bunch of goals recently, but at no point did that feel like a dominant win. And this Flames team needs that at this point. Like this is not the time to be playing down to your competition. They were a bounce or two away in that third period from losing this hockey game. And that can't be the case when you are playing the last place team in the league, a San Jose Sharks team that has won 2 games since Valentine's Day. Like this Sharks team shouldn't have given you any problems at all, but yet they were tooth and nail with them the entire way. And you can't just say, oh, well, they'll turn it on. 8 games left. It should be turned by now, but it's not. And it is such a concern for me. One of the things you look at with good teams is, do you treat bad teams like bad teams? Like, go in there, get the job done, and just take care of business. And the Flames didn't. And that is a thing that really concerns me going forward. They said on the broadcast tonight, oh, well, the Flames, 7 of their last 9 games are against non-playoff teams. Okay, that hasn't mattered at all. And you look now at how close things are, and you look now at where the season has kind of gone for Calgary. And this is why you get frustrated at a loss against Arizona in overtime. This is why you get a little bit annoyed when they drop one to the Columbus Blue Jackets or to the Chicago Blackhawks. This is why those games get so frustrating, is because now you look at it, if you could find 2 wins, somewhere in there, if you could find 2 wins, this team is in a playoff spot right now. And so that's why this consistent effort that we've been calling for from the Flames all season long has to be there. And it hasn't been from Calgary at any point really this season. That they have not been able to put that together. And again tonight, like, they won, but that's because the team they were playing was just kind of an absolute piece of shit. Like this is not a good Sharks team that you just played, and it was rough at points, but they do get the job done, and they do end up coming away with a victory, which, like I said, keeps them 4 points out of a playoff spot. Winnipeg, again, losing tonight. I am sure that the Game Over Winnipeg crew is having quite the time with that loss against the Kings. Man, the Kings are playing some pretty good hockey right now, aren't they? So as it sits right now, Calgary leapfrogs Nashville for that last playoff spot. For the last spot outside of a playoff spot in the Western Conference. They are a point up on the Preds, who do have 3 games in hand. They are even in games played with Winnipeg, and they are 4 points back of the Jets. Not that it was really in doubt, but they're not catching the Kraken, who won again today. They are 7 points back of the Kraken, 2 games in hand with Yeah, 7 points back with, like I said, 8 games to play. Let's go back to the chat. J-Rock saying, honestly, if the Flames make a playoffs, we all probably believe they are first-round exit. What do you want out of the last 8 games, plus or minus the playoffs, to build for next year? I just want more opportunities for some of these young kids. I want to see Pelche playing. I want to see Doer playing more. I want Ruzicka back in the lineup. I want to see that. And I kind of want to figure out, where does Huberdeau fit? And honestly, like, Millen kind of got caught on it on the broadcast tonight. There was such a great play with Huberdeau with a perfect pass, setting up Lindholm, who sets up Tyler Toffoli, who, by the way, career high in goals with 31. So shout out Tyler Toffoli. We love Tyler Toffoli in this house. But I would kind of like to see Huberdeau back on that line. I would, for the last 8 games, I think one of the things you need to focus on is who works for Huberdeau as a line mate, who works for Kadri as a line mate, and where do some of these other things fit? Like, I think now is the time to try to see some of those things. And I would like to see Huberdeau back up with Toffoli and with Lindholm. And I think if you are going to... I think if you were to draw up the Flames lines perfectly, that is still the best fit, I think, for Huberdeau going forward, even though the two left-handed thing does kind of throw him off, it seems, at times. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. More consistent play for Markstrom, which you have been getting. So just like a couple of those things. So yeah, the kids and seeing who fits with Huberdeau in the last little bit. J-Rock asking, is Daryl Sutter behind the bench for next year? We did discuss this earlier. Yeah, he is. Shouldn't be, but he is. Left-handed penman. The Preds have a brutal couple games coming up. The Preds also aren't very good. Like, I don't view if I was Winnipeg, I get they were just ahead of the Flames like 20 minutes ago. They're not great. And so if I'm the Jets, like, quite frankly, I'm more worried about how my team's playing than anything else. If the Jets don't make the playoffs, it's because the Jets fell out. It's not because anyone got hot and caught them, I don't think, anyway. And there's going to be, if the Flames do make it, there's going to be a conversation about, like, J-Rock, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to come off as snarky. It's cool. We can rehash things. It's all good. But if the Flames make the playoffs, you know it's going to be a conversation. Hottest team in hockey. No one's going to want to play them. I don't know. That Vegas team last night didn't seem too fucked, or the other night didn't seem too fucked by playing the Flames. So there's a ceiling on all of this for where this team can go. But you are at a point now where you are this close, you might as well make it. But the Flames need to find a consistency now that they have not found at any point this season. You know, like, it's at no point, aside from like the first few games of the year, and even then you can kind of explain away, well, Colorado was playing on a back-to-back. Vegas, they had a couple of this, and right? Like, there hasn't really been a stretch all year where the Flames have just been like, okay, yeah, we got this thing rolling now. Let's go. If they can get that now, great. I don't really see that. Wade Matthews chiming in. Sharks fan here. Good game. Thanks for putting us closer to Bedard, and good luck catching Winnipeg. Thank you, Wade. I appreciate that. Yes, no, that's a team that needs Connor Bedard. Honestly, that wouldn't be it wouldn't be great to have Connor Bedard in the Flames division for the next decade, but I'd rather Bedard go to like a San Jose than an Anaheim right now. Anaheim's just blah. 2 years in a row, I've thought, okay, you know what? This is the year the young players are going to come together for Anaheim. They got the goalie. They're going to figure this thing out. And it's 2 years in a row. By December, it's like, I didn't get that one right, did I? So that's a little unfortunate there. As we wrap up the program today, do want to talk about how fucking good Tyler Toffoli's been, right? Like, Toffoli and Backlund, we have been calling, and one of the themes of the show today has been asking for consistency from the Calgary Flames, and a couple of guys who have given that to them has been Foley and Backlund. Like, Toffoli, this last few weeks here, he has been just phenomenal. And you saw it today. You kind of forgot they were on the penalty kill because he makes an aggressive play at the blue line and outskates everybody. And like, he's never been a bad skater, but I've never thought like, oh yeah, this is a guy who's got like pulling away from everyone's speed. I've never thought that, but he showed it on that particular play. But he has been so aggressive, and there is such a level of confidence that he is playing with right now. And then Michael Backlund, I know I've gushed about Backlund on this program before, but I just have to bring it up again. almost anyone who has played with Backlund this season has had their best stretch of the season. Whether it's Mangiapane has not been more effective than when he's played with Backlund and Coleman. Same thing, Trevor Lewis. I think a lot of the secondary stats that are positive for him, he was able to really bolster when he started the season with Backlund and Coleman as well. And Coleman deserves some credit in all of this too, but Backlund has absolutely been the driver. I think he kind of got Huberdeau a little bit back on track as well. Like, Backlund has been the guy this season that you just like put a dude with him and he's just a star maker, man. Like, it's just gonna churn out the hits time after time after time after time after time. He has been everything that the Flames could want, and I don't know what direction these two I don't know what direction, the Flames go with these two this year, or this offseason, whether it is blowing this thing up and see what you can get for those guys, because the value would be high for sure, or if this team's going to make a push again next year, these are two guys who are going to be key staples of it. The Flames do not have someone with the offensive upside of a Tyler Foley, and they do not have anyone else who makes someone on the ice better the way Michael Backlund does. And I think that those are very, very valuable. And honestly, like, if the Flames do go the rebuild route next season, I don't know if I want to be trading Backlund. And it would be an internal thing. Like, someone would have to overpay for him, but his value is never going to be higher. So if you want to really go out there and see what you can find and make a big splash with him and like maximize the value, it's tough for me to argue, but that's the kind of guy, he's not going to want to hear this, but that's the kind of guy you want in a rebuild to show Walker Doer what he needs to do, to help a Dubé with what he needs to do, the next step for a Connor Zary and what that guy needs to accomplish. So Backlund is someone who I think is going to be very valuable to this team going forward. Same thing for Tyler Foley. He has been everything you could want for the Calgary Flames up to this point this season. Wade, once again, with the question in the chat. Also, from an outsider, I've been a big fan of Mangiapane. I don't watch many Flames games. What do you think is the reason for the goal scoring / production slide this season? That there's, I think, a bit of bad luck with what's gone on with Mangiapane so far this year. But I think a lot of it is that this isn't a team that has generated much in terms of high danger chances for a lot of the portions of the season. And I don't know what the offensive game plan was for the Flames coming into the year, but it's a lot of stuff from the outside. And when you look at what Mangiapane was able to do when he's putting up 30 goals and those types of things, even though he's a bit on the wee side, he is someone who gets to those dirty areas and creates those chances, and that's just not where a lot of the offense was coming from for the Flames this season. And so I think part of the slide is just overall the team isn't as good, and they're not generating offense, or at least a lot of their offense isn't coming from the places that Mangiapane tends to necessarily thrive. So I do think that there is going to be a bit of a turnaround. There were some stretches where he was, like when Mangiapane was, again, with Backlund and Coleman this year, that was one of the better lines in the NHL at the time. So I have no doubt that Mangiapane is going to be someone who turns it around and is ready for a breakout next season. But yeah, I think that there's just a couple of ways that this team didn't really maximize the talents of him necessarily this season. Wade says, gotcha, he would just always catch my eye whenever I did find myself watching the Flames game. Hope he rights the ship. I think he will be, for sure. Gorgeous Hammer, and I've screwed that one up a time or two. He says, I've watched a lot of Flames game, and Mangiapane is just not a smart player. He hustles, but his hockey sense is not great. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that statement. I can't recall any like dumb plays that he has made. He absolutely hustles 100%. But I think there is a bit of a sense on the offensive side of like, where do I need to be to create some holes in or create some passing lanes to be able to open things up. Jay Money with the all I know is Walker Doer needs an 8x8 extension. Man, isn't that a guy who like just screams fan favorite for the next few years? You know, like Lucic is probably, God willing, going to be gone at the end of the season from the Flames, and I think like the Lou chants that we get for Lucic are just going to be replaced by chance next year with Walker Doer. So I think that the I think that the Flames fans are going to love this dude. It's kind of like if Ferland hadn't had the injuries that he had. Like a guy just plays like one of those tabletop hockey players where it's just like straight line back and forth. He's going to crash into a lot of stuff. He's going to hustle like hell, and he's got some offensive weapons too. So I think Flames fans are going to love this kid for the next very long time. Left-handed penman. I hope we offer Backlund excessive term to get him back at a reasonable price. It'd be nice for someone to retire as a Flame after being here their entire career. Look, if they keep him here, and if they have a commitment to keep him around long-ish term, put the C on him. Like he should be the next captain of the Flames. Now, I don't have a great track record of calling that. The last dude who I said that about was Matthew Tkachuk, and then he kind of just like gone. So I'm not necessarily batting 1,000 on that one, but I do think that Michael Backlund should be a guy who you put the captaincy on going forward. Thank you everyone for coming on. This is a weird time because now all the Hockey Night in Canada games are starting, and a lot of the games are starting now. So it's a bit of a weird afternoon start, but thank you all. Remember one more time, like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. If you miss anything, the replay is going to be up as soon as this is done, or you can catch it on podcast if you just subscribe to Game Over NHL on any podcast platform. You can get that and stay up to date on everything with the old Game Over network. Like I said, the Winnipeg folks should be wrapping up here any moment now. Wade Matthews, one more. Does Dustin Wolf make the team next year? I think he does. I think he's kind of passed the level that is the American Hockey League, and now it's on to the big boss, which is the NHL. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably a Markstrom-Wolf tandem next season, which is too bad because Vladar has played well, but I think that's kind of the way that it would go. Vogon Poetry, glad to catch the show. You are really good at this, Peter. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to leave on that high note. I needed that today. All right. So my name is Peter Klein. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You can find me on social media, Twitter for as long as that lasts, and Instagram. I am at Primetime Klein. Yeah, Audie's going to have you guys for the next game. My next one is on the 31st. I get that wonderful Canucks game at 8:00 p.m. on a Friday night, the Flames against the Canucks. That's going to make me whine like Lola's whining at the door right now. So I have to go before the dog pees in here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. The next game that the Flames play is Tuesday against the LA Kings. It is a 7 o'clock start. Once that game is done, Audie James will have you covered. Thank you all so much, and I will talk to you all later.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.